Welcome to Community Conversations. I'm your host, Steve Mantis, and my guests today are two folks from the New Directions Speaker School, Deanna Ford and Elena King. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Deanna, let me start with you. Tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you end up in Thunder Bay?
Via many other cities in Canada, actually. I'm originally from BC, and I did an undergraduate in Manitoba and Brandon. I lived in Montreal, I've lived in Toronto, spent many years in Kingston, and eventually arrived here about 7 years ago, almost 8.
So I'm guessing that you like it in Thunder Bay.
I do. I love how close we are to the boreal forest, and I love going out. It's so close. I love that. And Thunder Bay is really nice too.
Well, I'm a big booster of Thunder Bay, so when I hear people have lived all over and then made a choice, I go, yes.
Yeah.
How about you, Elena? Are you a local, or have you moved to Thunder Bay as well?
I have moved to Thunder Bay as well, Steve. I'm originally from Parry Sound, the hometown of Bobby Orr.
Hey.
And I've been in and out of Thunder Bay since '94. I went to school here and came back about 10 years ago. And
So that was your first time to Thunder Bay, was going to school?
yes. Home away from home, I guess you could say.
Right on. And so, Elena, now you're a graduate of the Speaker School. Tell me a little bit about the Speaker School.
Graduate of Speaker School. So I did the 14-week program, right? 14 weeks, about 2 years ago, I believe it was. And it was, it really helped me come out of my shell, to be able to advocate, just to get, speaking in public in front of different people and putting my view out there and what, I think I could happen, should happen, I'd like to see happen. And it was a really good experience for me to go to speaker school and just being able to work with different organizations as well. And I really enjoyed the experience.
Cool. So, Deanna, tell me a little bit more about Speaker School. What's the structure? So, 14 weeks. How does that work?
It's 14 weeks, and we go through essentially the nuts and bolts of speaking in public, but with a focus on speaking for advocacy in particular. So they learn basic speech structures, a couple, and then some strategies for speaking persuasively to try and boost so that when they get up there, they're well researched and well presented, and also the presentation skills as well to boost those skills. So, but we go slowly, so because people are nervous about public speaking. I've got students now, some are more confident, some are a little bit less confident, so we kind of go gently and bring them closer to the front of the room as we go along, and eventually they're in the front of the room and talking to the group.
So public speaking is a scary thing for many people, eh?
It can be. A lot of people have had bad experiences, maybe when they were in school, that sort of thing. So it puts them right off of it, and it's sort of come back and try it. I mean, the courage that these people have is phenomenal. And if they are already nervous about it, and they're challenging that fear. And others, I mean, it's a lot of fun to share with an audience or share with a group of people, and they're enjoying that as well. So realizing there can be a lot of fun in that.
So 14 weeks, so how often do people, does this every day, or how often do people come during that program?
It's 1 day a week for 3 hours. So we meet 14 times for 3 hours. Presently it's a daytime class, and we have actually lunch together, and we have some lessons, and we have guest speakers, and the students have time to practice, and we learn about speaking, and then we practice speaking. And it goes for the 14. Now week number 14 isn't a class. Week 14 is graduation, and they actually do a presentation for an audience that is, we had, I think, around 50 people last year. So they were speaking to quite a crowd at City Hall where we had it in the council chambers.
All right, well, I'll come back to the graduation after, but
Yeah.
so where does this take place? Where does the classes actually happen?
The class is, this time round, we're happening at the Waverley Library. And we have a great partnership happening with the library. We come in on Fridays, and we're there, and they've got a wonderful facility in their auditorium. So that's where we're meeting this time. We've been at our kids count in the past and other places around Thunder Bay as it works out.
And who can attend? Like, who participates in the New Direction Speaker School?
The class is open to people who are dealing with situations of economic challenge or social challenge, possibly dealing with violence, possibly dealing with racism. That type of a thing is it's for folks like that trying to grow their voice so they can maybe improve their situation.
Okay, and how many people would come to a class? How big is that?
We take up to 15 people for a class. Presently, we're sitting at 7. We've had various different reasons. We started with a full class, and one of our speakers immediately was involved and out of town with the missing and murdered women that was happening, and so she was invited to Ottawa. So she was taking speaker school to speak. Here is her opportunity to speak. So it made perfect sense that she would drop out of the class at this time, but I think we'll see her in the future. But it's up to 15. We had 11 back in the fall. I've got 7 right now, and they're motivated group of people.
So give me a little bit of a sense of what happens during that 3-hour period that people are in the class.
Sure, we kind of run it like a quasi-meeting. We have an agenda, and we do introductions at the beginning. And this is one of the first ways that we start to speak in front of people. And we have an agenda and minutes, and we learn about passing those. And I'll do maybe a lesson on speech structure, for example, or we'll talk about how to, an aspect of writing a speech or an aspect of presenting a speech. We have guests, and we've had some really fabulous guests over the course of the course, and they've introduced different topics. We had, from a woman from the library who talked about the library and the great resource it is for people researching, finding out information. We had another person from a young First Nations lawyer come in and talk about the levels of government and advocacy that he's done. So we've had very diverse speakers come in and present. So what else do? We enjoy lunch together, and then we practice doing our presentations.
So there's a meal provided or lunch.
Lunch is
in
provided.
This case.
Yeah.
At every class?
Every class we have a lunch, and we try to make it easy for people to come and be a part of this class. We don't want anything getting in the way. If bus fare is a problem, we've got some assistance for bus fare. If childcare paying for it's a problem, we can help with that to a certain extent as well. So we want people to not say, well, I can't come because I can't get there. Well, here's a bus ticket. Come along, we want to see you. So we're trying to encourage people to find their way there.
So what I hear you saying is there's the class is targeted at people who are already facing financial barriers, and so you've put in place these different programs to address those on an individual level.
Exactly. As well. Yeah. We don't want them to say they can't come because of it. It's like, no, you can come. We want you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Please stay with us. We'll be right back